More drama tonight in Dalton after Mayor Tiffany Henyard clashes with village trustees over a postponed meeting.
Henyard's attorney claims trustees did not cancel the meeting with enough notice and says the show must go on.
Indeed, the credit card used to pay for the mayor's conference is from Dalton Township, a completely different government body where Henyard also serves as supervisor.
Appointed by Tiffany Henyard as police chief, trustees say it's an illegal appointment. Lacey was arraigned on federal bankruptcy fraud charges Thursday afternoon. It's alleged that he lied under oath in a scheme to hide assets and income.
Things continue to spiral out of control for Tiffany Henyard, and it seems she's only making matters worse for herself. From alleged criminal activities to misusing public funds, her time as mayor of Dalton is proving to be a wild ride. Tiffany is the kind of person who makes you question how humanity has progressed this far. She's not just one of the most controversial figures around, but somehow she remains in power despite drowning in a sea of allegations. Her corrupt actions have caught the attention of the law from every angle, yet she seems to have no intention of stepping down. Instead of avoiding controversy, she continues to make questionable decisions, like holding meetings without the city trustees, all while facing mounting legal scrutiny. You'd think the pressure of the investigations would make her think twice, but it seems nothing can stop her from clinging to power. How long can she keep this up? It's a situation that keeps getting more complicated with each passing day.
Not only does Henyard still intend to convene tonight's meeting, she also plans to make a series of new village appointments. In about 90 minutes, we'll see how things shake out, because at least 3 village trustees say they will not be coming. Yesterday, the publicist for the village trustees announced tonight's regular board had been rescheduled for Thursday, September 12th, adding they are working to address several urgent matters, including finalizing a budget, establishing a new village bank account, and securing a new...
It only seems to frustrate people more, yet it appears to have little effect on the residents of Dalton, who continue to see Tiffany as an immature, power-hungry, and corrupt politician, perhaps exactly what she's aiming to be. But we'll have to wait and see. Either way, things aren't looking good for her.
Yesterday, the publicist for the village trustees announced tonight's regular board had been rescheduled for Thursday, September 12th, adding they are working to address several urgent matters, including finalizing a budget, establishing a new village bank account, and securing a new auditor. Henyard's attorney, Bo Brindley, who is a criminal defense lawyer, says the board did not announce the postponement with proper notice.
The mayor was given no notice by the board that they were going to cancel or postpone or do anything with this meeting. Under Illinois statute, they have to give 10 days notice. They have to post 10 days notice to change the date or cancel a meeting. And they didn't do it. They did this in violation of state statute. They tried to circumvent the regular process and interfere with the mayor's ability to conduct her job as...
Her questionable decisions don't end there. Tiffany recently hired a new top administrator without consulting the council, and if that wasn't bad enough, the person she brought in has a history of criminal activity and accusations of sexual harassment.
Appointment will be for village administrator.
Last night, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard appointed a new top aide to a $100,000 a year job without board consent. 34-year-old Michael A. Smith, who's been active in South suburban politics for years.
The reason for Mike is he have a wealth of great information. He's a young person and ex-politician. He knows the laws like the back of his hand.
Perhaps that's because Smith has been in and out of trouble with the law for years. Public reporting shows Smith has been charged at least 8 times with crimes ranging from domestic battery to official misconduct. In 2012, Smith, then a young trustee in Dixmoor, resigned after pleading guilty to theft when he allegedly stole gasoline by posing as a police officer. Then in 2018, Smith was working as an assistant dean at Thornton Fractional High School when he was fired for sexual harassment of a female student, grooming a student with lascivious intent, and inappropriate aggressive behavior towards a male.
Citizens are outraged by her latest move. They've been pushing hard to get the mayor out of office, but instead, they've discovered that not only is Tiffany still firmly in her seat with no plans to step down, but she's also appointed another criminal to work alongside her. At this rate, it seems like the entire leadership of Dalton is on a path to becoming a haven for criminals and corrupt politicians, and the people can't help but feel like nothing will change.
A constant pattern of her hiring people without doing a proper background check and presenting it to the board. And that's our issue. That could pose a great danger to our community.
Dalton trustees Brittany Norwood and Tammy Brown
Is alarming.
were not at last night's meeting when Smith was appointed. The 4 Dalton trustees opposed to Henyard postponed the meeting and say none of the action taken was legal.
It's very interesting, considering the fact that she didn't have a quorum. So I don't understand how someone could be appointed.
Smith is replacing Henyard's previous hand-picked village administrator, Keith Freeman, who fell out of favor after he was charged with bankruptcy fraud and is now believed to be cooperating with an FBI investigation into Henyard. But Freeman is apparently still on the village payroll and filling the job.
So can you have a second village administrator?
No. We don't have the finances for that. As you all know, we are definitely in a financial bind, and we cannot afford 2 village administrators.
A township board trustee has blown the whistle, revealing everything she knew about Tiffany Henyard to WGN.
South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard has lost another key ally. Until recently, Henyard enjoyed near unanimous support on the Dalton Township board, but now trustee Carmen Carlisle says after trusting Henyard and remaining silent, she will be a whistleblower against.
One of the biggest concerns about Tiffany was the way she managed taxpayer money. Reports revealed she spent thousands of dollars on lavish travel trips and even funded an unapproved ice rink, all at the taxpayers' expense. The people of Dalton have had enough of watching their supposed leader squander their hard-earned money on herself and unnecessary luxuries, while they struggle to meet the annual tax quota. That's not exactly anyone's idea of responsible leadership. Unfortunately, a town ordinance aimed at capping credit card spending didn't pass, meaning Tiffany remains free to spend as she pleases. But it doesn't stop there. She also rehired L.S. Lacey, Dalton's former police chief, who was fired for corruption, including committing bankruptcy fraud. It seems Tiffany's choices are only making matters worse. Purry as if.
Proposed at the special meeting would have put a cap on credit card spending with purchases approved by the finance director, but that ordinance did not pass.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. But like I said, you have just some accountability, some transparency. And once again, as you can see, there's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of going back and forth, but how many true answers did we get?
Also happening in Dalton, Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey, fired for insubordination last week by the Dalton Village Board, is back, appointed by Tiffany Henyard as police chief. Trustees say it's an illegal appointment. Lacey was arraigned on federal bankruptcy fraud charges Thursday afternoon. It's alleged that he lied under oath in a scheme to hide assets and income from creditors.
Well, Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I think the government likes to bring as many counts as possible, just so the media will say that he has been charged with 9 counts.
Things went from bad to worse when Dalton's controller froze payments to the village due to overdue audits. It's not like the money would have been used to benefit the hardworking citizens anyway. With Tiffany in charge, it's more likely she would have spent it on herself. Now, the state's chief financial officer has made it clear to Dalton that they're facing serious financial scrutiny and accountability.
The state's chief financial officer makes it clear to Dalton officials.
Until I see those reports properly filed the way the law says they have to be, and until we see them show accountability for how they're spending taxpayer money, they will not see another penny of those offsets.
Illinois Comptroller Susanna.
Given what we've seen so far, the concerns about corruption are definitely valid. With more corrupt individuals in positions of power over Dalton, it's hard not to wonder if this is part of a larger scheme. The world has been full of unexpected twists lately, and this situation is no different. Even the man who first nominated Tiffany for her position as Dalton Township supervisor is now speaking out, reflecting on what led him to make that decision. I just felt that. He begins, trying to explain his reasoning.
I just felt that I was hoping we could get somebody that was a little bit younger for the role. I felt it was time that, possibly, and I wasn't like honed in on that, but a woman. I just thought that would be somebody, that was a little bit younger, a woman. So that's kind of where I was. I'll be honest, I really didn't know at that time a whole lot of the, that there was already some controversy and things like that, a little bit that was going on in Dalton, say. Sure. So I didn't really know about that. And then it was also something that, obviously there, just on the surface, there was a little bit of experience there. She had been a trustee, just became mayor. Kind of a town that you might have had as a base as far as just like you know, once again, coming from that there might be some experience and things like that there. Yeah. She went straight to Frank's office and, you know, sat in the chair.
He went to Frank's office, sat in the chair, and insisted there were no malicious intentions. But things certainly haven't played out the way they were expected. And unfortunately, the people of Dalton aren't the only ones paying the price for having one of the most corrupt mayors in office. A firefighter recently came forward, accusing Tiffany of mishandling their retirement funds. If this turns out to be true, and it likely is, it's a devastating blow. It's not just a mistake. It's a betrayal of the hard-working retirees who dedicated their lives to serving the village.
Saga in Dalton, now spilling over into the fire department.
But when the mayor first started to run in 2021, we did endorse her, and then everything went sideways.
Adam Farrick has been a firefighter in the village for 10 years. He's also union rep for Local 3766.
We have a ton of concerns.
Most revolve around financial issues. These are some of the grievances the union has filed against the village. Farrick claims many of the village's 21 firefighters don't want to speak out for fear of retaliation.
And there's always that scare of retaliation of what's going to happen if you know, we don't beat to their drum.
Farrick claims money taken out of their checks for a retirement plan not going where it should.
I pick the amount that I would like with taken out of my check, and then that money is supposed to go to nationwide. It has not been happening.
He also claims firefighters are having issues with health insurance, which the village pays for. These are some of the documents shared with NBC5 that say premiums have not been received.
Members are getting claims denied, and we did file agreements over.
Her actions are all over social media, with the world watching her every move. The reality is, there's no one left who can genuinely claim she's innocent. Yet, she remains the mayor of Dalton, still holding power over the village and its finances, and she's clearly taking full advantage of it.
Okay, Mike, 1 second. Go to the mic. You're going to start it. All right, go ahead.
It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of the deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives vigilantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms.
It may not be enough to bring her down just yet, but the pressure is definitely mounting. If she gets arrested, there's no way she'll be elected mayor again. However, she's not going down without a fight. She's still working to secure re-election, relying on older voters as her base to stay in power.
Campaign speech. This was not a meeting because they didn't have the quorum. It was just her. And I think this is on purpose. I think this was intentional. Because if there was actually a chance that some of these other trustees would have showed up, at least Darlene would have showed up. The fact that she didn't show up, she was probably told to go home. The supervisor knew that none of the other trustees were going to show up. They just had the big news that Trustee Carlisle is basically calling herself a whistleblower. So at this point, it was just her to spend all the time talking about what she's doing correct and getting the seniors to vote for her next year. This was a political maneuver. That's really all it was. There was no Q&A. She wasn't going to answer any questions. It was just for her to continue to talk about all the things that she's doing for her voting base. And her voting base is the seniors. That's why she talks so much about the tech savvy, helping the seniors with their technology, the big bingo. Seniors love bingo. I know this is not a big surprise for many of you. Seniors like bingo, able to get really nice gifts. Tiffany Henyard is trying to make sure that she gets reelected as
needs to stop. Her actions are giving politicians a bad name and making everything seem like chaos, though honestly, they already have a tarnished reputation. Still, in this case, she's certainly not helping things.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who also doubles as Dalton Mayor, recently made remarks questioning property taxes and spending by communities in the township. But Henyard herself has been the focus of scrutiny and an FBI investigation for her spending practices, including expensive out-of-town trips, the use of both vehicles and employees for personal purposes, and a large security detail on the taxpayer's dime.
I think that it's the polarization that leadership and politicians get, and I think that it puts a bad taste and disdain to the residents and to the public and how we are perceived.
We're suffering in Thornton Township, and Tiffany needs to stop. It's so hard to call her supervisor when she's not doing anything right, and it needs to stop.
The mayor says Henyard seems to enjoy operating in a culture of chaos and conflict, and he says for the benefit of taxpayers of Thornton Township, that needs to...
The taxpayers of Thornton Township deserve better, and this needs to end. For now, let's hope the next update is about either Tiffany or Diddy getting arrested, though at this point, we can only hope.